This is Slayer, and he just disappeared off screen. You don't know where he is, but now you have to guess for it. Well, at least it didn't do that much damage, right? You get the idea. Slayer is a high damage power character who excels in the close range and scares his opponents through his insane rewards off of hits from his kit of unique mix-ups. This video is a counterplay guide against the most common ways Slayer steals rounds from players, hopefully making your experience when fighting him a little more bearable. Let's start with his most powerful button. This is 2H, a slow poke that hits at a considerable distance away. Slayer hops during the startup, and this move can go over lows, making it very useful to stop opponents from trying to stuff his approach. The move has a very low but long range hitbox that can be jumped over. The move itself is a low. 2H is also Slayer's largest poke, and he can't really reach you from that far unless he uses a 2D at max spacing. But aside from that, 2H is always going to be his largest button that you need to watch out for. The way that you deal with this move is jumping over it usually, or outspacing a poke of your own that will reach Slayer during his recovery frames. If you see him whiffing 2H a lot in neutral, jump at him, or wait for his recovery frames after he uses the move and hit him. Now we're going to talk about Slayer's signature move, Dandy Step, and how to defend against it. This move is one of the key factors in Slayer's offense and allows him to rob rounds from people because they don't know how to defend against it usually. The move has two versions, the P version and the K version. The P version moves forward and is slightly faster, but the K version moves him backwards and allows him to evade attacks and then score a devastating whiff punish. The best advice I can give you for defending against this move is fuzzy mashing. Whenever you see him dandy step or you think he's gonna dandy step, press either your fastest low kick or your fastest punch in order to stop him from just using dandy step at you. The only options from Slayer that actually beat these mashes are Master's Hammer or Pile Bunker. Here I have Soul mashing when Slayer does his dandy step or mashing after block, and as you can see, he stuffs out most of Slayer's options except for Pile Bunker. Fuzzy mashing a kick or punch also keeps you safe from the Master Hammer follow-up, since the move is not fast enough on startup to punish your active frames, allowing you to block right after. But Pile Bunker will punish you for fuzzy mashing, so be careful. The other option you can use to fight against Slayer's offense is 6B. This will be 2 out of 4 of Slayer's options. You'll get punished by Pile Bunker again, and by Master's Hammer. But Pile Bunker will sometimes lose to 6B as well, so do it at your own risk. Be sure to mix up your defense, because Slayer can catch on to these habits and punish you for it. You can probably mash on reaction to Dandy Step, so try to keep it in mind instead of just mashing without thinking, because Slayer can punish you for these into big counter hits, or just normal hits that will end up in a wall break. Now, I'll quickly go over some frame trap Slayer might use to catch you off guard. He can frame trap after any of his slash or heavy slash buttons. His most common frame trap is after a forward slash or a down slash, using either 2H or standing heavy slash. Slayer can also go for frame traps after close slash, using a lot of buttons like 6H, 5K, 2K, or 2D, so be sure to keep that in mind. Now we're going to talk about the neutral skip, Mappa Hunch. A lot of people think that this move instantly wins Slayer neutral, but it really doesn't. It allows him to close in the distance from long range, but it can be 6-speed. And if spaced improperly, it can leave Slayer either minus, plus, or vulnerable to a punish. I wish I had some better advice on how to deal with Mappa Hunch, but in reality, you just have to learn the spacing and then punish him accordingly, or respect it if you know he's plus on it. I will, however, point out that the move does not go very high up, so you can usually jump over it, and if you're full screen, you can jump air dash back and hit an aerial to punish him as he approaches you. Now, we went over the do's and don'ts against Dandy Step, but one very important thing you don't want to be doing is just jumping, trying to get out of the corner, because Slayer has a very powerful tool to keep you there, by using his slash follow-up after Dandy Step. If you only try to jump out of the corner, Slayer is going to just take advantage of that, and keep using his really good anti-airs, and moves like 6H that will keep you dragged down into the corner back again. Those are the main ideas when defending against Slayer. Now we're going to go over real and fake mixes. Whenever Slayer Roman cancels after Mappa Hunch full screen and he begins to dash across to you, He can dash up to 2 times while still keeping his grab invul. If he does more than 2 dashes through, you can throw his dash on the 3rd time. Something that is very real for Slayer is after a throw, he can meaty safe jump with a jumping H. This will beat DPs and reversal supers. This safe jump works on mid-screen and the corner, but in mid-screen, he also has a different mix-up using grab. He can dash through you with a down kick into another dash, and this will go right behind any DP you try to do unless you time it late. Something that isn't real at all is him doing buttons into 6k. There is a gap between whatever button he does over to the 6k, but he is plus after the overhead, so be careful not to mash afterwards. A very important detail to keep in mind, which is basically a just learn the timing moment, is that Slayer without meter cannot make Master's Hammer a true mix-up if you can react to it. If Slayer without meter goes for a dandy step into Master's Hammer, you can punish it by grabbing. It is a very tight timing, but you can react to it. So make sure to go into training and just try to practice getting the timing down. This guide overall was just focused on the very basics of fighting against Slayer. It's not a definitive way to play around him, but it'll give you some leeway when defending against this character in order to not get robbed as easily of your rounds. So I hope this helps everybody have an easier time against Slayer, and you can do your own labbing or watch more videos on how to deal with them in order to further improve your game plan. For this guide, I use the Dust Loop Wiki for hitboxes and move descriptions usually, so check them out if you want more information on Slayer or your character for Guilty Gear or most fighting games. Thank you for watching this full guide, and I will see you again very soon.